So no updates for the Baltimore Ravens today, but what I want to do in this video, like we do every other video, but now we can do it a lot sooner, is focus on questions from Team Keep It Clean. If you would like to be part of it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com, or for the Team Keep It Clean patrons, you can send a DM directly on Patreon. If you would like to join the Team Keep It Clean patron, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids, and if you want to send it in a different type of way, you can send it directly to our P.O. Box. The address is down below in the description. Before we get to these questions, I got to give a special shout out to Coach Tally. Coach Evans, Sip2Tally. That's my guy. I had probably today, we did a video on his channel, and I can't call it an interview because I feel like an interview is you talking with somebody who you don't really know. But we just had a straight up conversation, man. And this was probably one of the most special conversations I done had with somebody on here in a long time. It meant a lot to me. We talked about a lot. We talked Ravens, but we just talked about a whole lot of other stuff too. And y'all just go make sure y'all check that out. I'll leave the link to the video down below in the comment section to make it easy for you. But go show him some support because he deserves it. He deserves all of it and more. He's good people, and he been good people from jump. So I appreciate y'all, and I know y'all gonna show him a lot of love too. So without further ado, though, let's get into questions from y'all. First one came from my guy 101. He said, "Hey, Engraven and Company, I hope you are doing well." Hey, we are. And he said, "I hope everyone is doing well." He said, "I'd like to give a shout out to you, Engraven, for always being consistent and being our best at bringing us updated news." Hey, I appreciate you, 101. He said, "Now, I've been listening to all the criticism and dislike going around with Justin Tucker, but I have a different view and opinion on the situation. We have to treat Mr. Tucker just like any other superstar. You can't just throw him away after one very bad season." Well, not that you want to throw him away, but what if this has been a trend for a couple of years where it's just been going down, 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 down like that? Anyway, he said he has 22 game-winning kicks, which is more than any other kicker, let alone some QBs, and it's not just JT. If you look around the league, Tucker is number 19 out of 42 kickers that played this year. Not bad for the worst season of his life. Number 19 in what exactly? Well, what are we talking about here? Because you can't just throw out number 19 out of 42 kickers. And like, what is it? The number 19 in what scoring? Is it number 19 in field goal percentage? Is it what is that number 19? Because we can't just say 19 out of 42. Well, shout out to 1942, but we can't just say 19 out of 42. And what's it about? But anyway, he said, all I'm saying is that if we win a Super Bowl without Justin Tucker, it won't be the same. What? If we won the Super Bowl without Justin, it wouldn't be the well. Yeah, it wouldn't be the same because Justin Tucker wouldn't be kicking for the Ravens. He'd still be on the team because Justin Tucker ain't going nowhere. But if Ravens win a Super Bowl, like, look, Ravens win a Super Bowl. That's it. That's the end all be all. It ain't. Well, anyway, continuing. He said, "I'd rather live and die off of Justin Tucker's leg." Look, we do hope Justin Tucker gets it turned around. We hope that Justin Tucker ends up coming back from the bye week and he just goes on a tear in a good way. I know y'all saw that video with Justin Tucker. He was just looking exhausted. I saw that video. I said, man, like, oh my goodness, he just looked rough. He looked really, really rough. And maybe it was the camera angle, maybe it was the lighting. I don't know. But he just looked rough. Hopefully he just turns everything around in a positive way. He said, also, we need to get Mitchell more involved. Plus, okay, with Keaton Mitchell, yeah, I'm sure that's on the way. But why is Keaton Mitchell not involved? What's going on with Keaton Mitchell? Again, Derrick Henry, Justice Hill. They've been working. So it's one of those things where if it's working, why try to force the issue? But then at the same time, you think, hold up now, that's Keaton Mitchell. We remember Keaton Mitchell from last year and everything that he could bring to the table. I would expect to see more doses of him on offense moving forward real soon, because the Ravens offense right now, they've been in this funk and it's a lot of self-inflicted stuff. Got to give credit to the opposing defenses too. Some of the stuff has been offensive line, some of the stuff been Lamar, some of the stuff been the receivers, some of the stuff been drops, miscommunications, lack of blocking, missed throws. It's been all kind of stuff, but it's all stuff that the Baltimore Ravens can overcome. All of it. It's all stuff that they can overcome. So with Keaton Mitchell, I expect him to be added into the mix just so he gives yet another element of life to the Baltimore Ravens offense that has not necessarily been lifeless recently, but they definitely ain't had as much life as they had early on. So I expect him to get involved in the running game a bit more moving forward, in the passing game a bit more moving forward. Because that's primarily Justice Hill, but it's also been Derrick Henry too. They've been slowly getting Derrick Henry more and more involved in the passing game, and that's what you got to do to make your offense a lot less predictable. And Ravens been slowly doing that, so keep it up. But yeah, I expect to see more Keaton Mitchell moving forward. He said we need to get Keaton Mitchell more involved. Plus, Lamar needs to show teams that he's still a running threat, even though I know it's not needed as much anymore due to King Henry's addition. With Lamar Jackson, with him running more and whatnot, he needs to run more. 678 yards, that's a lot of yards for somebody who needs to run more. But I do see what you're saying. Everything's about context. It's not just straight up, all right, Lamar needs to run the ball more. It's just when things ain't open downfield, if there's an opportunity to take off, live to play another down, but get them yards. Get them yards. Do what you got to do to keep the drive alive, get positive yards, and because the positive yards turn to positive points, and we love those. He also said, I would also like to see Tylan Wallace or Dayton Wade get a shot at wide receiver, even though I know you said before that there's a lot in front of him, but I still think it would create a spark. It could, but yeah, it's a whole lot. And then look at they still got to figure out what's happening with Deontay Johnson once he gets back, because this week he kind of off. This week he got an extra bye week, but with Deontay Johnson they got to figure that out first. But he said, by the way, with all those questions that you read, you need to have a water bottle next to you. Hey, I need to have a water bottle for these questions alone that you sent. But he said, keep it up. Appreciate you. I appreciate you, my friend. Next question came from another Team Keep It Clean patron, my guy, Nick Brick. He said, do we have them right where we want them? Quick question. One thing about this Ravens team is we can't say they peaked too early. They won't have any bye week decisions. They won't be the favorites in any postseason games, and no one is going to pick them to win the Super Bowl. Except me right here. But anyway, he said, is it too crazy to think this is just where the Ravens organization thrives best? As underdogs, right? Because when Ravens are the top dogs, number one seed or whatnot, they end up falling flat. We've seen it time and time again. But bottom line, they're not going to get the number one seed. That's cool, but they just got to get in the playoffs, make it happen. But that is a good point. Like Ravens right now, they being overlooked by a lot of people. A lot of people done wrote them off. A lot of people are done with the Ravens. A lot of fans, even Ravens fans, they done with the Ravens. Oh man, these dudes ain't doing nothing. But this is, Ravens can thrive off of this. But anyway, he said, I think Harbaugh is better at coaching the hunters than the hunted. You said something with that one. Now that is something too, though. We've seen a lot of times when the Ravens got their backs against the wall, that's when they really show out the most. When it's looking like things are bleak, it's looking like, oh man, that's a wrap. Oh man, what is this team gonna? That's when they really step it up. He said, I'm excited to watch a humble Ravens team in the playoffs who don't freak out if they can't blow out the other team. We'll see. Next question came from my guy Zoe. He said, A.J. Brown is upset with Philly passing attack, and that's after a win. I did see at the goal line he was open on a slant, and Hurst chose to throw it elsewhere for the touchdown. We need to make a move. The trade deadline been passed on, November 5th? That was over a month ago. We ain't making no moves, my friend. But let me continue. He said, Steelers, without a doubt, after this year, are going to get a wide receiver. Since everyone wants to play for Tomlin, we have to make some chess moves as well. Hope all is well with you and the family. Oh, you already thinking to next offseason? Let's finish this year first. We got to get our Super Bowl, and then we'll go grab A.J. Brown or some big body wide receiver to compliment our guys after this season is done. But anyway, he said, A.J. Brown and Henry are former teammates. Let's make a move. All right, let's handle that next season. Next question came from my guy Monta. He said, Ingraven, hope you're having a blessed day and that all is well. This is more of a comment instead of a question, but as we sit right now at 8-5, not the best or worst of records, but at least we have postseason life as of now. We certainly do. He said, now obviously I think we should be at least 10-3, but I'll take 8-5 because when schedules were released for the season, I believe that the Ravens had the second toughest schedule. So for us to be 8-5, it's actually a testament to how good our team can be. And we've been losing to some silly teams too. We lost to the Raiders. Look at their record. We lost to the Browns. Look at their record. It's like, really, man? That's who we like. And we also lost to the Chiefs. We also lost to the Steelers, and we lost to the Eagles. So we lost to 3 really, really good teams, and teams that are just doing a whole lot of winning. But them other 2 losses, it's like, really? But something that, and again, no moral victories, but I guess we got to take a moral victory. None of the games have been blowouts. None of the games have been, we lost by more than one score. Every game we've been right there in it till pretty much the very end. Maybe the largest deficit was against the Eagles, But we were right there. I mean, we had what was it, 9-0 in the beginning, something like that. So we had at least, but Ravens can beat anybody. They can get beat by anybody, but Ravens can beat anybody. He also said, now, for us to be 8-5 is actually a testament to how good our team can be. Now, of course, we can definitely play better, but considering our strength of schedule and our opponents, I like to think we're doing pretty solid. That's all I wanted to come on here and say. And I don't know if you noticed, but Lamar was indeed wearing a green mouthpiece versus the Eagles, LOL. Oh, yeah, that was you who commented on the mouthpieces a couple weeks ago. Yeah, you were spot on about that. Next question came from my guy Zlager. He said, I know the defense has been doing their thing these past few weeks, but what do you think about Baltimore picking up Micah Parsons next season? You can see he's not happy in Dallas, and he just stormed off the field after the Cincinnati game. I would love if they got Micah Parsons. I don't think it'll happen, but he would be great because you can move him everywhere on that defensive line. He is an excellent pass rusher. He's a playmaking pass rusher. He's a closer, a finisher at pass rusher. And then this would put us with those other guys in the AFC North as far as us having a dominant pass rusher. Now, it wouldn't be homegrown like 2 out of the 3 other guys are because we know Trey Hendrickson, he came from New Orleans. Then there's TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. But we ain't got that dominant pass rusher like those other AFC North teams do. So that would completely be a game changer for the Baltimore Ravens. But I doubt it'll happen, but I'm still going to push for it. Next question came from my guy, BB. He said the true problem is EDC. As highly as he is touted in Baltimore, we truly have to audit his decision-making. As a GM, it takes a person that is not friends with his coaching staff or the players to get the job done. There has to be some cutthroat qualities that do not exist in Ravens GM. Harbaugh has had too many passes or write-ups for his inability of decision-making when it counts. It seems all the blame tends to favor the coordination instead of the leadership. Drafting injured players, giving passes to upper management, not being accountable for wasting 7 years of a 2-time MVP, and not giving the correct arsenal to win, not re-signing Jadeveon Clowney, and having no urgency to add true depth to the team before the trade deadline has cost the Ravens losses, not only this season, but in prior seasons as well. Common sense will reveal when you are in charge of something, no matter what it is, there has to be consequences and repercussions to any employee that cannot perform their job correctly. EDC loves this team, we can all tell, but when something is not working and the same result occurs without a championship, looking in the mirror and examining oneself first and then everything else that surrounds you. I trust EDC. It don't sound like it from everything you just said. Like you literally said all of that, then you said personally you trust EDC. I don't think so, my friend. Anyway, he said he has to make changes and better decisions for things to truly change. There was ample time to set this team up to make a run for the Super Bowl. Hold up. They still gonna do it. But anyway, he said, taking Kyle Hamilton out of his universal position, which is everywhere, and not pursuing a replacement for the struggling safety room is one example. Sure, Kyle has filled that position well, but there was plenty of opportunity to sign someone either in the offseason or by the trade deadline, knowing that the health of your $50 million Marcus Williams was an issue. They signed, what's her name? They signed Eddie Jackson. We were all having conversations here every week. Oh, Ravens need to sign a third safety. Ravens need to sign a third safety. I was hoping they would sign Justin Simmons. Didn't happen. But then they brought in Jamal Adams, and I was like, I don't think that would be the best move for the Baltimore Ravens. And then they hit us with a sneak attack, and they got Eddie Jackson. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Eddie Jackson known to be a ball hawk and whatnot. All right, cool, let's get it. So they signed that third safety. So that third safety would allow them a lot of flexibility in their room because they had a Marcus Williams, they had a Kyle Hamilton, they had Ardarius Washington, and then they had a Eddie Jackson. They still had Daryl Worley at the time, but he's not on the team anymore. You had Brandon Stevens, who's played safety before, so he got that experience as well. You had a Bo Braid, you had a Sanusi Kane. You had a lot of safeties, a whole lot of safeties. But with Eddie Jackson, it obviously just did not work out, so they had to make some changes, had to make some adjustments, and those adjustments worked. Like, again, with the Eddie Jackson, they tried, it didn't work. They cut ties, man. And, I mean, it was a little more for it not working. It was the personal stuff, but they cut ties. So with that, I don't have a problem with how they address that. Because, again, like, if you're paying somebody, and you said $50 million, it's more like $70 million. If you're paying somebody that much money, it's hard to try to find a replacement for them. Because, yeah, while they have had some injury issues, it's hard because when you're investing that much money into that position, how do you just find a replacement for them? You don't, because you're investing that money because you believe that person is going to make it happen. And Marcus Williams, he's been healthy this year, but he just ain't been making it happen. So Ravens, they made it happen to where he's not playing anymore. And I don't think he'll really play meaningful snaps for the Baltimore Ravens ever again. But anyway, he said, Sorry for the long rant, but I love this channel and wanted to share my thoughts. Thanks, Ingraven, for all you do for us in Ravens Nation. No. Thank you. And I appreciate y'all sharing everything that you're feeling about this team. I appreciate that a lot. You already know that, man. You've been around for years and been sending in questions for years, so I appreciate that. With EDC, he does share some of the blame. Not last year. Last year was all the team. It was all on coaching, the personnel, execution. It was all them. That was not EDC. EDC did a phenomenal job last year of assembling this team. This year, he's done a good job overall, but there's definitely some big question marks as far as the offensive line. Like, how could you just coming from an AFC championship and you go into this season with guys playing as starters on the offensive line for the very first time in their careers? And one guy has never played the position. He never played guard before in his life, and you got him starting for your MVP quarterback after he just came from the AFC Championship. So you're going into this season with a big question marks on the offensive line. You're going into the season after you just came from the AFC Championship. You got somebody that's never been a defensive coordinator before. Not saying that he could not do the job, but you taking some big risks after you just came one game away from being in the Super Bowl. That part right there, that was like, ooh, like when you really think about it, it's like, yeah, okay now. But you did bring in Derrick Henry, and he has been a big difference maker. You re-signed Justice Hill, and he's obviously been a big difference maker too. You trusted Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. And with Zay Flowers, we saw what he did last year. Rashad Bateman was like a question mark. We were like, I don't know, because you've re-signed him to an extension. But Rashad Bateman, overall, he's been a lot better than he had been the past 3 years. Because, obviously, I think the biggest part of it has been his opportunities. The past 3 years, he had gotten some opportunities, but not nearly as much as he's been getting this year. So it's paid off for the most part. He obviously has his drops, but all of our receivers, they all got their drops, because all of our receivers got drop issues from time to time. Bateman, Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar, Deontay Johnson, whenever they decide they want to play him. But not Tylan Wallace. Tylan Wallace, he don't be dropping that ball. And with Tez Walker, hey, who knows? Because who knows if he's ever going to play in this offense. But anyway, but no, it's all good. It's being a GM. It's so much that you can do, but the way that you build a team, in my opinion, I think it goes based off of what the head coach wants, what his style of play is. Your job is to build a team in addition to the head coach, but you're doing things based off of him. So at EDC, a lot is on him, a lot is on Harbaugh, a lot is on the players, a lot is just on everybody. But watch this season, for the rest of this season, they're going to get it all cleaned up, and that Super Bowl is going to be on a lot of them as well. Next question came from my guy Nova. He said, I guess I have thoughts to share and I would love the opinions as I'm trying to talk through the situation with this bye week. FYI, it became an even longer novel, so I broke this up into 2 parts. Appreciate all you do for us and hope you and the fam are doing well. Let me get into this. Ooh, this is a long one, but here we go. He said, first off, Mr. Lamar, Mama said, knock him out. You got to do what you got to do to win at the end of the day. Whether you're a Raven fan, Lamar fan, or just love seeing great football, we all know you have what it takes to be a top QB in this league. He already is the top QB in this league. But anyway, continue. He said, mainly because you are one already. This year, though, the passing has been great, but you stopped doing what made you special. I don't know why, but my guess is the media and constant criticism. And to that, I say, great job. Criticism is a privilege that only the best receive, and you have to channel it so as such, but in no way do any of us want to see you conform to what the media wants you to be. These same pundits that said you only ran had no QB ability years ago are now saying you should run more. No matter how much you zig, the critics are going to zag, and you will never please anyone, but you can shut them up with your success. That's it right there. Success. Just win. Just win. That's it. But something that you said, he stopped doing what made him special. Again, 678 yards. That's a lot. That's a whole lot of yards. Is it 678 or is it 578? Either way, whatever it is, that's a lot of yards rushing. So it ain't like he stopped doing what made him special, but he always looking downfield for the pass. And yeah, there's sometimes like, hey, Lamar take off, but he don't be doing it. But watch against the Giants. Everybody who's saying, oh, Lamar run more, don't worry, he's going to have you. Lamar about to go crazy against New York. Anyway, he said, don't dim your light to appease anyone just so they can say someone else is shining more than you. It's 2024 and every QB can now run, but none of them are as potent as you, so don't stop doing it. You're good, and if others say QBs are better, show them why they're wrong. You've made a lot of people backtrack their words and start adding goalposts moving to their resume, so keep at it. Let's get the ring this year and make sure that they know you are undeniable. Well, that's a nice way to start off. The next part, he said, to Mr. Orr, I want to say thank you. A few weeks ago, I was watching the Dolphins put on a clinic defensively versus the Patriots and was wondering, did we let go of the wrong guy, as Weaver has been getting most of his guys there, but these past few weeks have been a lot more palpable. I say this because in the offseason when other teams were poaching our coordinators, I remember the Ravens said that Orr was off limits, but it sounded like everyone else was available. Safe to say the organization got that one right. Although we knew we couldn't keep McDonald another year as he was going to be a head coach. Anyway, in addition for my praise for Orr, you had the cojones to actually bench the guys who weren't producing in the secondary and commit our defensive ace to the area of weakness, and the results have been showing. That's true. That is very, very true. He said, for the longest, this team plays people based on their salaries and not performance, and it's quite irritating to see. But thanks for becoming an anomaly. Yes. That's why I was so surprised when those benches happened, because that's not very Raven-like. He said, thank you for making the necessary adjustments and getting our defense to be respected again. It's not feared, but I can hope that it is feared again in due time. I'd also want to see Stevens as a safety in some nickel packages to see if he can possibly change his position. It's a bold move, but we have time during this bye, and Stevens isn't a bad player. He's just having a bad year. Who knows, maybe moving him there could be the answer to move Kyle back to wherever he needs to be as that multifaceted player we love. Yeah, like I'm cool with what Kyle's doing now. He is around the line of scrimmage a little bit, but not nearly as much as he was before because he's playing drop back safety. But the big plays have been not necessarily a race, but they've been extremely, extremely limited. Exact opposite of what it was before. So I'm cool with Kyle Hamilton being this more traditional safety. But yeah, if you can move Brandon Stevens there to that role, hey, go for it. Anyway, he said, either way, I have confidence in you making these adjustments, and if they pan out, great. If not, we at least have a solid defensive foundation to go back to. Keep up the work. There is a part 2 to this, but I know I make novels when I say things. So I did Team Keep It Clean and Solid and broke this up into 2 parts. Okay, there's another part on the way besides this one. I thought, since you broke that up into 2 long paragraphs, I thought those were the 2 parts, but you got one more on the way. All right, we'll look out for it. Next question came from my guy Omar. He said, Ingraven, hope all is going well for you. With the bye week upon the team, it's time for a complete review of the entire organization, players and coaches alike. Ooh, okay. And everything is great. I appreciate you, man. He says, some tough decisions might have to be made, but as a coach from another team once said, that's why I'm well compensated. Coach Harbaugh has made tough decisions before. He replaced Cam Cameron with Jim Caldwell as the offensive coordinator midseason, the last time the Ravens won a Super Bowl. This was the first game in 2 years where they lost, and I didn't feel like they beat themselves. To be honest, the Eagles were the better team. I know the missed kicks changed a lot about how the game played out, but the eye test still said the Eagles played better football. If the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl, there will have to be some changes. On offense, they can't stick with the same player rotation for certain plays or downs and distance situations. The most impactful player needs to be on the field, not just the best player for a specific type of play. Players make plays, not play designs. Ooh, I like that. I think Ravens, they love doing a rotation of guys on both offense and defense. Certainly offense, though. Just maybe to keep guys fresh. But just to like sort of spread it around. And that can be a gift and a curse all at the same time. Because if you're spreading it around, then pick your poison. So it's like, okay, we can get it this way, that way, and that's great. But then for other guys, sometimes the Ravens, they can have somebody getting hot, especially at receiver, especially as a pass catcher. They can have somebody getting hot, and then all of a sudden you don't hear from them no more. Now that could be due to the adjustments of the defense, or it could be to the Baltimore Ravens just failing to get them involved moving forward. Anyway, continuing, he said, overall, I think the defense has played well over the past 3 games, and they performed well enough to win against the Eagles. That's true. He said, I feel the focus should be on staying honest with what they see on tape and ensuring they have the best 11 on the field. Some guys who are always on the field might need to rotate. Tape doesn't lie. My question to you is, what changes do you feel Coach Harbaugh should make, and what changes do you think he will make? As always, appreciate your insights, my brother. Appreciate you, Omar. What changes will he make? I don't really see them making any changes at all moving forward. What changes should he make? Figuring out Justin Tucker, that's one. The offensive line, I'll make changes there. I would change out the guards. I would give Voorhees another shot. Try that out. I'll give Josh Jones a shot at guard. Try it out. Just to see, man. Especially like this game against the Giants, like not that I'm sleeping on nobody or anything like, but this game against the Giants will be a perfect opportunity for the Baltimore Ravens to try some new stuff out on the offensive line. It really would be. And you can just see and go from there. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then you're back to where you was at before. Next question came from my guy Trey. He said, what's up, Ingraven? As always, hope you and your family are doing well. Hope no one took that loss as bad as I did because I was sick. We got punked out there, but you know what? It's over and we're past the bye week, so I'll move on. One thing I can't stand, honestly, irritates me so much is the lack of Zay Flowers touches. I know he has 60 catches and is close to 1,000 yards, but he should have way better numbers at this point. I'm not talking about those jet passes or RPO screens, real down the field targets. Zay is such a deep threat, but yet we use him for everything but going deep, and I get so mad about it. Zay to me is such an elite route runner, and his ability to create separation no matter what the route is crazy, which is why I don't understand why we can't get him the deep shots off a double move or just letting him beat his man down the field. Yeah, they be trying it sometimes, but this is funny because this is what we were talking about in the last question. Like, guys will be hot early on in the game, and then they just stop feeding the ball. They disappear. He said, I watched Jordan Addison go off as a wide receiver 2 for 8 catches, 133 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Sam Darnold makes sure to feed his elite wide receivers because Justin Jefferson had 7 catches for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. If I'm Zay, I'm heated. Remember when Zay had 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown in the first half against the Raiders? Yeah. He said, why does Zay finish with those exact numbers at the end? Cowboys and Bills game, we didn't use him. Bengals game, we used him, and he gave us 111 yards off 7 catches. The very next week, Zay had 9 catches for 132 yards in the first half. Why does Zay finish with those same numbers? That's my problem with Lamar right now. He's a QB, and when you have a player on fire like that, you have to keep feeding him. I know this is a super long email, but I'm only going to get it off my chest. Buccaneers game, Zay got hurt early, and even though he finished, I won't bring that game up. Against the Browns, Zay had 1 catch for -1 yards in the first half. He finished the game with 7 catches for 115 yards. But wait, there's more. Zay had 4 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. Zay surely went off in the second half too, right? No, he only got 1 target, 1 catch for 16 yards. Very next week, Zay only gets 6 targets, 4 catches, and 34 yards in a shootout against the Bengals, followed by probably his worst game when he hit was 2 for 6 for 39 yards, but had that clutch touchdown to keep us alive. 5 for 62 against the Chargers, and then the last games they had 3 catches for 74 yards in the first half. Finished the game with those same numbers. Why is it either or with Zay? Either you eat in the first or second half, but not both. He's too great of a player to be put on a leash like this. Once again, I criticize Lamar Jackson because he's the one delivering the ball, and he has to make it a priority to feed him when he sees him going off. Burrow makes sure to feed Chase. C.J. Stroud makes sure Nico eats. Jameis literally spammed a scorching hot Jerry Jeudy against the Broncos. Why, when it comes to Zay, it's not the same result? Sorry for the super long email. I just haven't sent out anything in a while, and I had to see if anyone else feels this way about this. As always, go Ravens, and I'm going to exit to the left, just like every Justin Tucker kick these days. Oof. That's so sad. But yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see it. Now that would be on Lamar. It'd be on a mix of Lamar, it'd be on Zay Flowers, and it would be on Todd Monken. All of them share responsibility in what's going on. With Lamar, yeah, it would be up to him to get Zay Flowers the ball, to him to throw a good ball to Zay Flowers. It's up to Zay Flowers to run a good route, get open, or if it's a contested catch, whatever. But it's up to him to catch the ball. There have been times when Lamar has thrown to Zay, and Lamar has thrown the ball too low. Sometimes he throws it too high. He like, hey, Zay, I thought you were like 6'2". Zay Flowers say, hold up, Lamar. I ain't there right now, my friend. But so sometimes Lamar will sell it a bit. And then there are other times with Zay Flowers, sometimes he would just straight up drop it. Sometimes there could be a miscommunication. Lamar thought he was doing one thing, Zay Flowers thought he was doing another. And then there comes Todd Monken. So with Todd Monken as an offensive coordinator, he's the one that designs, that calls the plays in order to get different players involved. Obviously, a lot of these plays are not just one read where the quarterback only has one guy that he's going to throw it to. Well, unless it's a screenplay. But besides that, they design these plays to get these players to hope that these players come open against these different defenses, and so they can make the play. So that's where Todd Monken comes into play, because he needs to design the play to where Zay Flowers can eat. And that's something that with the Ravens, this happens a lot of times to, like you mentioned, somebody will be hot and then they'll go away from it. But again, like I said, it's on those three, Lamar, Zay, and Monken. But it can also be the defense as well. Sometimes it is, other times it's not.